Ladies and gentlemen, Warlocks have a handful of really nice exotics. Geomag Stabilizers, Eye of Another World, Crown of Tempest, Ophidian Aspect, Transverse of Steps, just to name a few. But one that has always been near or at the top of my list is NEZAREC'S. This is a Destiny 2 launch exotic, and some exotics really don't age all that well. That is certainly not the case for NEZAREC'S. This was and still is a top tier choice for Warlocks in PvE, and most certainly can find a place in PvP loadouts. But what exactly makes this exotic so good? Well, simple answer, ability and super uptime. If you've caught any of my previous videos though, you may have noticed that I really don't like to leave things at simple. It would appear that I really enjoy torturing myself with questions like why, how, and how much. And then I do my best to provide you with an answer to those questions. So we'll dive into the fine nuances of NEZAREC'S in this review, run the numbers, and talk about its benefits. And if at any point during the course of this video you find it useful, helpful, or enjoyable, liking and or subscribing are always greatly appreciated. But as I've said in the past, likes and subscriptions are earned, not given. And all I ever ask for is a chance to earn your support. But let's get into the review and start putting NEZAREC'S to the test. Alright, you know something that's funny? It seems like the most complicated exotics for me to test have the shortest perk description. Abyssal Extractors. Void damage kills increase ability energy recharge rate. And this means any void kills, energy weapons, heavy weapons, grenades, melees, or your super will recharge your grenade, your melee, your class ability, and your super. And this is not a void subclass specific exotic, it's gonna work with any of them. Void subclasses do inherently have more potential because of the void abilities, but as long as you're running a void weapon, any subclass can reap the benefits. But as for the perk itself, upon getting a void kill, you'll see Abyssal Extractors proc for 2.5 seconds on the left side of your screen. This is the window in which your abilities are seeing a boosted regen. Additional kills will continually add 2.5 seconds to the timer. So stringing together multiple kills isn't terribly important because 2.5 seconds is 2.5 seconds. But obviously if you can limit the downtime of the perk, your abilities will come back faster. First thing we're going to look at is our grenade, or melee ability, since they do have the same cooldown times. I tested a tier 7 and tier 10 discipline, clearing my grenade and then getting 5 void kills at each tier. Our base grenade cooldown at tier 7 discipline is 45 seconds. After getting 5 void kills, this cooldown was reduced to just under 25 seconds. So each kill we secured reduced the cooldown by approximately 4 seconds. At tier 10 discipline, the cooldown is listed at 32 seconds. After scoring the 5 kills, my grenade was back up in 18.5 seconds. This was shaving about 2.7 seconds per kill. So yes, we do see diminishing returns at higher tiers, which is pretty much par for the course when dealing with anything affecting our ability cooldowns. But even at tier 10, just netting 5 kills is nearly cutting that base cooldown in half. Stasis users, you have longer ability cooldowns. At tier 7 discipline, your grenade cooldown is listed at 1 minute and 11 seconds. 5 void kills with NEZAREC'S equipped will reduce this to just over 43.5 seconds. So your grenade's coming back about 27 seconds quicker, and each kill's shaving about 5.5 seconds. At tier 10, the base cooldown is 53 seconds. After getting 5 void kills, the grenade is back up and ready to cast in 32.5 seconds. Here you're looking at a 20.5 second cooldown reduction, with 4 seconds being refunded for each kill. So longer cooldown times, yes, but like we just talked about, longer cooldown time, bigger cooldown reduction. With our Rift energy, things don't seem to be quite as generous. At tier 7, the base cooldown time is listed at 59 seconds. 5 void kills will reduce this to 42.5 seconds, so approximately 3 seconds per kill. At tier 10, the cooldown's 41 seconds at base. With 5 kills, this drops to 30 seconds, granting us about 2.2 seconds per kill. And what I'm sure most of you have been waiting for, the super cooldown. How often do you get to press the super button? And this required a lot of very lengthy and, well, very boring testing. So I'm not going to try to show you every last bit of it, because I would like you to stay awake for the rest of the video. But I'm going to do my best to explain what's going on here. I tested this at tier 4 and tier 9 intellect, just to give us a little broader scope. But for this experiment, we do need to establish a control, since any kill with any weapon will grant us some super energy. At tier 4 intellect, the super cooldown is listed at 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Downing 5 enemies with a kinetic weapon, the super was back up in approximately 4 minutes and 34 seconds. Repeating the same process at tier 9 intellect. Listed cooldown is 3 minutes and 52 seconds. our control cooldown comes in at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So our controls are established, and these are the values we're going to be measuring against. At tier 4 intellect, after downing 5 enemies with void energy, and waiting around for a bit, my super was back up in approximately 4 minutes and 14 seconds, seeing about a 20-second cooldown reduction from the control. And just in case you were wondering, does this effect pair with Thresh? Yes it does. At the same tier 4 intellect, but now using my Thresh Retrofuturist, scoring 5 kills got me my super back in 3 minutes and 49 seconds, which is a pretty significant difference. So yes, Thresh works with NEZAREC'S Sin, no doubt about it. But back on the topic at hand, at tier 9 intellect, after securing my 5 kills, my super was back up in 3 minutes and 27 seconds, which is an 18-second reduction from the control cooldown. So yeah, nice cooldown reductions on our super there, but how does this look in an in-game scenario? What if we were to clear out the first wave of ads in this lost sector at both intellect tiers, while using just a primary weapon to keep things subclass neutral? Well, at tier 4 intellect, after clearing all the ads, my super was back up in 1 minute and 59 seconds. At tier 9 intellect, my super was back up and ready to cast in 1 minute and 38 seconds. Both are extremely quick. I don't think anyone's gonna sneeze at a sub 2 minute super. But can we do better? Absolutely. This is gonna take some building, but it actually can get a lot better. But this is a pretty common setup that I run in a lot of PvE activities. For the subclass, Top Tree Voidwalker, because we can charge up that Vortex Grenade with Chaos Accelerant. Go ahead and use whatever your preferred Void energy weapon is, but something with Thresh can really help the cause. For a Void Heavy, I'm using Crowd Pleaser with Chain Reaction, but really, any Void Heavy weapon that you got's probably gonna do the job just fine. The most important part though is double Ashes to Assets mods on the helmet. This is what's really going to be reducing our super cooldown time in a significant way. I personally try to keep my discipline up in the higher tiers, and run impact induction on my arms and bomber on my class armor, just to help keep that grenade up and active as often as possible. But these things are kinda just icing on the cake. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. NEZAREC'S Sin does a really nice job in keeping your abilities topped off. And I am running tier 4 intellect, which is not high at all. What I try to do is wipe out enemies with the Vortex Grenade as often as possible, drop enemies with the Thresh weapon when I can, and clean up trash ads with my Void Melee. If everything goes according to plan, you might have your super back in about 45 seconds. And keep in mind, this lost sector is not exactly what I would consider ad dense. There are 23 enemies in the first wave, and a lot of them tend to be spaced out. So I'm not evaporating large packs of enemies with each grenade. But if you are in an activity that does have very high enemy density, this could get even better. Or, make your own build. This is just the one I use, and it's a very versatile exotic that you can find a lot of different synergy with. On to PvP, and I'm gonna try to be brief, because I hate just sitting here and spitting numbers at you like this, but I want you to have all of the pertinent information. Good news though, the ability cooldowns will remain unchanged from PvE, but in PvP, Guardian kills do grant more super energy than just a standard red bar trash ad does. So here again, controls need to be established with a kinetic weapon. At tier 4 intellect, with 5 kills, my super was back up in 4 minutes and 5 seconds. At tier 9 intellect, the super was back up and ready to go in 3 minutes and 18 seconds. These are our control numbers. When scoring 5 void kills with NEZAREC'S Sin equipped at tier 4 intellect, the super was refilled in 3 minutes and 38 seconds. That's a 27-second reduction from the control, seeing about 5 seconds shaved off per kill. And I did run this back with my Thresh Retrofuturist just because I was curious. In this case, the super came back in 3 minutes and 17 seconds, cutting a little better than 9 seconds per kill. Then at tier 9 intellect, 5 void kills with NEZAREC'S Sin had the super back in 2 minutes and 59 seconds. This is about a 19-second reduction, seeing 4 seconds cut per kill. And when we throw Thresh into the mix here also, the super came back in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That's 34 seconds less than the control, with each kill shaving a little less than 7 seconds. So here again, pretty decent cooldown reductions. And that is going to do it for the testing. We'll quickly touch on NEZAREC'S Sin's performance, and then we'll get things wrapped up. Alright, I'm not going to linger in this section for too long because you saw the testing, and that pretty much answers the question as to why you would want to use this. The ability uptime that you can gain from NEZAREC'S Sin is pretty incredible, and seeing a sub 1 minute super in PvE is not uncommon, especially if you're willing to build into this exotic just a little bit. And to make use of it, all you really need is some Void firepower. Running a Void subclass will maximize the effects, but it's not completely necessary. Void weapons alone do a great job of keeping any subclass's abilities with quick cooldowns. And for me personally, a lot of the weapons that I enjoy using just happen to be void. Palindrome, Gnawing Hunger, Bottom Dollar, Frozen Orbit, Glacioclasm, Telesto, Leomonarch, Crowd Pleaser, Borealis. I mean, the list can go on. We're certainly not starved of good void weapons when looking at PvE or PvP. Then NEZAREC'S Sin can provide a lot of versatility in your stat line. Some exotics will boost your abilities but not your super, or your super is affected and your abilities are not. NEZAREC'S Sin covers them both in a big way. The only stat categories that are not touched are your mobility and your resilience. So you could prioritize those stats if you want, or spec into the stats that you highly value. And if some come up a little bit short, NEZAREC'S Sin can compensate for them. And the only major downfalls that I can see are, 1, if you prefer weapons that are not void elemental and you don't like running a void subclass, which is fair, you're just not going to get much out of NEZAREC'S Sin. 2, you do need kills to boost your cooldowns. So if you're into Crucible and just not securing final blows, or if you're in a PvE activity and the ads in an encounter have dried up, the fun's over. And 3, speccing too hard in the void might not be a great idea when entering into higher end content with the match game modifier. If you have a void weapon that you can really lean on, or if you can cover your bases across your fire team, this still could be a great exotic. But these certainly are things that you need to account for. Those few things aside though, NEZAREC'S Sin really is a fantastic exotic. It's been in Destiny 2 since day one. It was strong back then, it is still strong now, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. This is a top tier exotic. But hey, if you did enjoy this video, please remember to leave it a like, and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel to catch more Destiny 2 content in the very near future. If you'd like to contact me, you can look for Ironworker814 on Twitter, join our community Discord, link will be in the description, or comment down below and I will do my best to get back to you. But with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out this armor breakdown. You guys are awesome, and I'll catch you on the next one.